Alright everybody, we are off. We're heading down the street to check the crayfish trap, but this is not going to be a long video, or at least the outside part of it's not going to be a long video. I don't know what's going to happen once we get home, but we're just going to run down here. I threw the trap out over the side of the rail rather than up the stream, so there's not going to be any walking up in the stream or anything. We're just going to hop out of the truck and pull the trap out of the stream and see what's in it, and hopefully we'll have some crayfish in there. And then if we've got any minnows, we can sort through the minnows and find out what we've got and see if any of them are worth bringing home. So I had a few people mention on my last outing that they were looking forward to some more of my kayaking and outdoors videos, either walking down here in the stream or whatever. So I wanted to encourage everybody once again that just because I don't talk about my Patreon page very often anymore, I still have my Patreon page, and if you're interested in more of the casual just kind of hanging out with me sort of videos, and you want more outdoors videos or going out on the kayak and stuff like that, I will be doing more of that on Patreon. I've kind of shied away from that as of late because I'm just been cooped up in the house. I haven't been in the best of moods. But now we are actually getting to nice weather. The weather really feels like it shifted today. It was really windy this morning, and now we are approaching warm weather. By Friday it's supposed to be nearly 90 degrees, and that is just going to cause an explosion in the greenery and the flowers, and the fish are going to start running, and it's going to be time to be outside quite a lot here in the very near future. So I will be posting more of that kind of stuff on my Patreon page if you're interested in checking that out. In the meantime, I'm going to get parked here, and I will see you over at the trap in half a second. Well, I can see the string is still there, so at least it hasn't been stolen. Now let's just see if anything's in it. Well, I can see a bunch of minnows dashing away from it. Oh, probably almost entirely Creek Chubs, but let's see. Not a single crayfish. That's interesting. There's still some bait in here, so for today I'm just going to throw it back out. I just don't feel like bothering with taking it home tonight. So let's see what we got. We got a lot. And I think they're mostly going to be Creek Chubs. That's a Creek Chub. That one, I can feel stuff all over it. I can almost see that that has ick, or I don't know what that is, but I can feel those little lumps all over it. It's got some sort of growth on it. Almost makes me wonder if I want to put any of these fish in my tank. I don't know what that was, but it felt really strange. It felt like sandpapery. That's a big old Creek Chub there, that's for sure. Pretty fish. Now, I don't think I need to go through every single one of these hand by hand. Although, wait a minute. This one right here. No, I think that's still just a chub, although it's got some red in its side. Oh, there's one right there. So we at least have one. That looks like one. Alright, maybe we will keep some of these, although I think these are going to go in the quarantine tank first. Come on. Slippery little things. I think we'll just take the rest of those because a lot of them look like what we're looking for, a lot don't. A couple look like they might be pregnant. But I don't see any more that have any of those weird lumps or anything on them. So we're going to take these home and put them in quarantine for now and see what happens. So, alright, I'll see you all back at the tank. Alright everybody, here we are. Now I'm going to try to hold my camera in one hand and I'm going to try to give you a look at these with the other. Now I know I said we were going to put these in quarantine, but the more I was thinking about it on the way home, my one quarantine tank is full and then the other actually has some fish in it, and while I could put more in, it also has that white water mold in it, and I'm actually kind of fiddling with that. So we'll be looking at some different videos about that coming up, just kind of out of curiosity, not because I'm really worried about it necessarily. So what we did with these is we gave them a nice heavy salt bath. If you're wondering how much I put in there, I don't know. I put probably a couple of tablespoons in maybe 3/4 of a gallon of water they were in, and I left them in there for about 10 or 15 minutes, and now I netted them out. This is not the stream water, this is my water. And we're going to go ahead and just pour them right on into the tank because the water is very similar. I did a water chemistry test not long ago, and the water in my local stream is surprisingly similar to my water. So I definitely got a bunch of those Rosyside Dace. Here, let me set this bucket down. Definitely got a bunch of those Rosyside Dace. As far as I could tell when I was watching them in the bucket and checking them out, I didn't see any Creek Chubs. I think every single one of those we got was Rosyside Dace. I counted several times. I never bothered to like take a picture and then count the still photo. I just sort of eyeballed them, and I got everywhere between 12 and 14 every time I counted. So we've got at least a dozen of them in there, plus the one I originally had. So this is going to be a busy, active tank from here on in. So I think we're pretty much stocked at this point, although I think overstocked is probably a better word for it. It's kind of interesting. I have some of them that want to just sit on the bottom. I noticed a couple of them were doing that in the bucket. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. I don't know if that's a stress thing. I don't know if it's a pregnant thing. I don't know if that's normal and just some of them do that sometimes. Got a whole bunch of them back there. We can see them on the camera, just lined up in the current. They're loving that fast moving water back there. And then down this end of the tank, everybody's sort of piling in, freaking out. So it'll probably take a day or two for the tank to calm back down. There's a lot of fish in there now. So as I said, I think we're probably pretty much done on the stocking end of things, other than putting some crayfish in the bottom. And then who knows, we'll see what happens as far as how many of these survive, you know, over the next couple of weeks or something. Now, as far as me putting them in a salt bath, you know, that's not without merit, but it also doesn't do a lot. It's definitely no, you know, replacement for a proper quarantine. At best, if they had some sort of external macroparasite like a gill flukes or something like that, worms or something that were hanging off of them, a nice good high concentration in salt water. The idea is the osmotic shock, you know, the extreme rapid change in salinity. While that would kill the fish over time, 10 minutes isn't going to hurt a fish, but 10 minutes is way more than enough time for some very, very small worm or something. It can't stand that much water pressure change within its body, and it kills them off, whereas the fish can withstand it for 10 minutes or so, and then you pull them out and they're fine. But That's all it's good for. It just sort of kills stuff like that. If they had ick, it wouldn't have made a squat bit of difference if these fish had ick on them when I put them in that salt bath. If they've got any kind of internal parasite, it wouldn't make any difference. There's probably countless diseases I don't even know about that they could have that my little salt bath wouldn't have done anything to. So again, it's not without merit. You know, it's not saying that I just, you know, I'm wasting my time doing it. But at the same time, it is no replacement whatsoever, or substitute, that's the word I've been trying to think of. It's no substitute for a proper quarantine. As I said, I just don't really have a proper quarantine, and I've always said that this tank is going to be a little on the, you know, rough and tumble side. Now, it is settling into the point where I like it at this point. You know, this Creek Chub right here in particular is getting so big, I'm almost getting some sentimental attachment to it. I've had it for a while now. I've watched that grow up into a big Creek Chub, and it's still going strong. So I really don't want to lose any fish in here. Obviously, I don't want to lose any. I don't want to lose any guppies. But at the same time, this is still a tank that's a little lower on the risk scale if something does happen. My tilapia in here, of course, would be the big loss. And I'm also growing rather attached to the high-fin spotted pleco in here. So, as I said, we're kind of wrapping up the stocking on this tank. I don't want to really keep messing with it. I don't want to keep risking introducing stuff. The only thing I was really interested in doing was adding some more of these Rosyside Dace, and since we just put a dozen of them in there, and I don't have any big predatory fish like I did last time I had a big school of them in there. I had a school of them there before, and I believe it was the sunfish that just eventually made short work of all of them, and that was it. And this spring or last winter or whatever it was, I was able to get one of them in there, but I've never been able to like really build that school back up. So now that it is, and there's no real predatory fish in there, I see no reason to think that we're not just going to get to watch that school of Rosyside Dace in here. And as you can tell, and as I keep saying, this tank is now really, really heavily stocked. So yeah, I'm probably going to have to start doing a little more water changes on that, so feel free to remind me, you know, if you feel like it's been a while since you've seen a water change video on this tank, because I've got a lot of fish in here now. At any rate, that's about it. I got a lot of fish in here now, and they're really, really cool looking. So once again, we're probably going to be pretty much done with the going down and throwing the minnow trap out. You know, maybe unless I'm catching, you know, crayfish for bait or something. I guess maybe by the end of the summer, if the crayfish population in the tank has dwindled or something, there might be some opportunities to go down and do that again. But for the most part, I'm considering this tank pretty much fully stocked, with the exception of some crayfish. But other than that, you know, again, I just don't see a whole lot of point in doing a lot of those sort of videos. So we'll still get the occasional, you know, kayak video, stream video, fishing video, stuff like that. I'm always going to do that. But most of that's probably going to be over on Patreon. I don't have the audience for it here on my fish channel on YouTube. I know some people like my outdoors videos, but you know, out of all my videos, the least watched videos are my outdoors videos. I know I do have some fans, but most people watch my videos for my fish stuff, and I appreciate that. So I will keep the bulk of my videos to my fish stuff. So speaking of which, I'm going to stop rambling on about other videos and whatnot. Again, check out my Patreon if you're interested in that sort of thing. Otherwise, make sure you're subscribed right here to my YouTube channel, and you won't miss anything I've got coming up, whether it's the occasional outdoor video or it is videos of my native tank here. So thanks for watching this one with me. I hope you enjoyed. Look forward to some beautiful Rosyside Dace, and I will see you in the future.